Pedro from A&P-Reacts. I'm here today with Olavi of Amon Amarth to talk about the upcoming new record, The Great Heathen Army, out August 5th on Metal Blade Records. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So let me ask you this. After 12 records, are you worried that you guys at some point in time are going to run out of Viking stories to tell?
Not really. I think there's a bunch of stories that we haven't covered yet, and also we can always find different angles and whatnot. So no, I'm not worried about that.
How much of an impact did the pandemic have, not just on the sound, but on the creative process of this album?
For me personally, nothing. The only different, or the only thing that wasn't planned was that we were not planning to make a new record, because we were sort of hoping to get back on the road and continue touring where we left off. We were in the middle of a South American tour when we had to cancel and fly home before they closed the airports. So that was our original plan. And then after a while, we sort of figured that there's no point for us coming back with an old album. Because first we thought the pandemic is going to last for a couple of months, but nobody thought it would be 2 years. So anyway, so for me, no, I wrote the album the same way I always write stuff, and the mood on the album didn't affect what was happening in the world. But I do know that our other guitar player, Johan Söderberg, he wrote at least one of the songs, Oden Owns Your All, because he was so pissed off about the pandemic. He wanted to travel, and he was really pissed off about the lockdown. But for me personally, no, it was just as a regular album.
I guess Vikings don't get COVID.
No, we don't.
Vikings don't get COVID. One of the things I noticed listening to this album is that it has a different sound. It comes across differently. For you, in your perspective, is it a different sounding record when it comes to Amon Amarth?
It might be. I mean, I don't know. That's really difficult for me to judge. But I think our plan, when we decided to make a new record, we said that we're gonna try to make a darker, maybe go backwards a little bit to stuff that we did maybe 10 years ago, music-wise, which means maybe more aggressive and heavier stuff. Maybe not so much heavy metal orientated riffing. But that's just something we said. And then, of course, I mean, that we're back at B tuning. The Berserker album was a C tuning, so that makes a difference on the sound. Nah, other than that, I don't know. But the thing is that our goal was to try to make an album that is where we divide. There's a big difference between the songs. So we didn't want to make two songs that are similar to each other. So, and the goal was to have 8 songs first, and we're gonna treat each song, give them 100%. I mean, on Berserker we did 12 songs, and it's kind of difficult to really do the 100% on each song. So this time around we thought like we should treat every song as a single. They're all lead singles, so to say, and make them really different from each other.
When you talk about that changing in tuning, does that have something to do with that trademark Amon Amarth chugging riff that you guys have? I mean, I can pick up an album, play 5 seconds of a riff, and I know I'm listening to Amon Amarth. You guys have a very trademark sound. Does that tuning change anything as far as that trademark sound is concerned?
At some point, yes, it does. I mean, and also, if I write riffs or whatever, my fingers usually go to the same places for whatever reason, even if I want it or not. So that's always the starting point. So I mean, obviously, it's gonna sound kind of similar, but also, yeah, tuning definitely helps. I mean, if I put the D tuning on my guitar, it's gonna sound totally different. So yeah.
Do you find it important for you guys to have that DNA, to have that trademark sound, or it's something that just happens naturally that you never really worked towards it?
I never worked towards it, that's for sure, and it happens naturally. And I think if I come up with something that is really, really way off, and then I tweak it, and after a couple of weeks, that's gonna sound a normal Amon Amarth riff anyway. So I mean, because I don't know, it's just the way it is. It's nothing we really control, or it's not like we have set the path or whatever. It's just it is what it is.
It is what it is. I want to ask you also about the way this record comes across. I felt like the singles were very different from one another, and you already mentioned that this album has different, like there's no two songs that sound alike. So considering the singles, considering that you obviously and I have heard the whole album, what do you think is going to surprise the fans the most about this record?
Uh, wow. I don't know. I mean, I think Saxons and Vikings, of course, is going to be something people talk about for obvious reasons. And I do think that Serpent's Trail might also be, because that's something where we try to do something a little bit different. At least the way we play the riffs and stuff. I would say those. And then, I mean, Odin Owns Your All is kind of brutal, but I mean, we've done brutal stuff in the past too, so it's not like shocking. And then maybe Heathen, because Heathen is probably the I'm not sure how to say this in a good way, but it's probably the catchiest and cheesiest song we ever made, and some people might be a little surprised about that.
I actually thought this album had a lot of songs that were always had like an infectious hook. Like your guys were working on tracks that, we want the song to have power, we want the songs to be heavy, but at the same time we still want the tracks to be hooky. Do you feel that way about the tracks on this record, that they have that hookiness to them?
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I said about really giving each song 100%. And I mean, there's a different way to make hooky songs, but I mean, I think we really used the ideas we had. We really used them really good this time. We made the maximum out of the ideas, so to say. We really worked them hard, and what I mean by working hard is that we tried everything there is possible to do with the riffs. We tried every angle and everything, and that's the way it should be. I mean, when I make demos, I might do like 100 versions until we get to the right one.
The right one. The drums sounded heavier on this album than they did on Berserker. Did something change, or is just the way the whole format of the songs and how the riffs incorporate with the sound that give a little bit more oomph to the drums?
I think Jocke probably grown into the band more now and feel more confident what he can do, and I think maybe Berserker he just played it safe, so to say. And the way when I write my songs, usually I might do some drums on my own, but usually I just write the click track. But whenever I send it to Jocke, I send them without drums. I just send him with a click track, and I say, "Hey, here you go, knock me down." So I mean, so he really has free hands to do whatever. But I think he kind of felt more secure this time around. And that's normal. I mean, when we did Berserker, he hadn't been in the band for that long.
Yeah. I can totally see that. A little bit more comfortable with his surroundings, if you will. You mentioned two of my favorite songs on the album, Saxons and Vikings and Serpent's Tail. I want to ask you about Saxons and Vikings. That song is massive. To me, it's one of the biggest songs, my favorite song on the entire album. When did that idea start to brew? Because I don't think you can make that song without having it as a duet.
Yeah, you're right about that. If you're gonna do something like that, it needs to be all in. And I think the first time I got the idea was that when we recorded with Andy, Deceiver of the Gods. And I think that was probably like maybe 10 years ago. And you know, we were sitting in the pub between the recordings, and he mentioned Saxon because he's been working with Saxon. So I said, you know, at one point we should actually do a fucking Amon Amarth Saxon song about Vikings and Saxons, and it should be like you know, two bands make one song together. And then for whatever reason that never, you know, came apart, it never really happened. But now, since we were coming back to Andy, it felt like time-wise, now's the time. And riffing-wise, I had these ideas that I thought would fit very well with both Johan vocals and Biff vocals, because it's important, you know, you cannot just squeeze in something; it needs to really fit. So I thought I had the right idea for it, and so yeah, I reached out to Biff, and he loved the idea, and Johan wrote the guideline to the story, so to say, and Biff wrote his own words. And then he came to the studio, and we talked about it, and we went through it. And then he started to sing, and he nailed it. And then we had Paul and Doug from Saxon to do the guitar solos.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know.
And to me, it was really important that it was like a, you know, it's an equal thing. You know, it's not Vikings beating the shit out of Saxons and
No,
you
no,
know,
no. It goes back
conquering.
and forth.
Yeah, it's back and forth, and it's equal. Nobody's winning the battle, and also it's very important that it's you know, vocally it's equally. So they both has similar to sing, and they have their own parts, and
Yeah, they have their own verses.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought the song was phenomenal, but I'll be honest with you, I when I was listening to the track, I was like, who's doing the Saxons? And it didn't dawn on me that Biff being in Saxon, he would be the one. I'm like, is it this guy? Is it that guy? Like this voice sounds super familiar, but I couldn't pinpoint it. It drove me nuts. And there was later I was talking to Yoke online, and we were chatting about the track, and he's like, dude, look at the song Saxons and Vikings. Who you think it is? And I'm like, fuck, what a moron I am. Like, how didn't I put that together? So, but it was really incredible track. I mean, really stands out for a lot of reasons. The way you guys constructed the sound, obviously the vocals, phenomenal. But the other one is Serpent's Tail. What a way to close off the record. Some symphonic elements that really make that track jump out, make it super epic and cinematic. Was that the best way to close off the record with such a song? Is the longest song on the record as well?
Yeah, it is the longest song, and also there's a tradition that we always end up a record with, you know, the most epic song, or not, maybe not the most epic, but an epic song it has always been the closure since I don't know, since Versus the World, I think. So yeah, it's just a tradition, and we like it that way. And yeah, the song, I mean, all these orchestrations, I thought it would like add another layer to it, kind of like when you, I don't know, if you like grilling ribs or whatever, you just put in some different flavors once in a while. And that's how I see this. I mean, they basically doing the same thing that what the guitars are doing.
Mm-hmm.
They're underneath the guitars in the chorus to you know, really to make the riff stand out more. And then on the verses, the first round is all guitars, and then on the second round, the guitars are just doing doing the chugging, and all the melodies is done by orchestration. So yeah, I just wanted to look for, you know, you want to have ups and downs in a song, so like add more elements.
Give it
And
more epic flows.
yeah, yeah, that's a cool thing, and I also like the way Johan is singing. Is really fits well.
Yeah, it's more of a storytelling. It really comes across different. It's a different track from anything else that you guys put on that record. Not just because of the symphonic elements, not just because of the length, but the way it comes across. Even his vocals sound slightly different. The delivery feels slightly different. It's a very unique track from that perspective, but such a big track.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. And also, I mean, if we take away the vocals and we take away the orchestration, I think the riffing, the way we are playing it on guitar, is really different from how we would do in the past, or how to say. Because first, when I wrote the song, it was just traditional way. We were just doing this tremolo picking and double bass, and that was like, I mean, we've done this 100 times or more. So gonna find a different way to do the verses, and that's how this came with the wow wow, and you have like the drums are really holding everything back, and yeah,
It
yeah,
really
I like it. It's a cool song.
I I already recorded my review for the album, and I mentioned the word. I know a lot of bands hate this word, but I mentioned the word experimental. This album feels different. Maybe experimental is not the right word, but it feels to me like you guys decided to try a lot of new different things, new different ideas, new different ways of making songs, and that allows for a lot of diversity. Are you okay with that kind of a statement?
Hey, it's your words, and this is a free word. You can say whatever you want. But yeah, I mean, but I don't really see it that way. I mean, we just do what we feel is right, and we don't really analyze it too much, to be honest. And the only thing we're really picky with is that we don't want to have two songs sounding the same. And that might be what you're saying, that there's a very diversity because of that.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know, I don't know how other people are, but when I write the song, I kind of see it like a tree, and you have branches coming out, and then you try to use the branches, like maybe that melody could be a guitar solo if it doesn't, if that's not going to be the main melody and whatnot. But after the song is done, you have like 100 branches left over. And this time around, I made sure that I'm not using any of those branches into another song.
Oh, I see.
So while in Berserker album, I think I did 3 songs from the same tree, so to say. So I think that's why maybe there's 3 songs that they don't sound the same, but yeah, there's something similar. And on this album, I didn't do any like that. So that way, it also makes it more diverse.
And you mentioned Andy's name. For the listener at home, when they pop this album in, what do you see as the biggest impact that Andy has on the sound of this record that the regular listener can detect immediately?
I mean, he's in charge of the sound. That's for sure. I mean, the way the guitar sound or drum sound or bass, that's we don't get involved at all, to be honest. We just say, hey, whatever, because that's his job to know that. So that's one thing for sure. But also, I mean, when it comes to the music, we are pretty prepared when we get to in studio. So we already have everything nailed down. So there's really no changes. If there is anything, there might be that we cut something because something is too long or whatever. We make a different ending or maybe a different intro or whatever. But he does have a lot of input when it comes to like the way we record. He can, since he's a great guitarist himself, he can really help with the stuff like, okay, maybe you can do this, you can play it this way instead, or maybe you can do that. And also vocally, I think he's really good with helping Johan phrasing, because usually it's easy to do the same phrasing all the time. So, maybe change some words to get a better flow or a different flow. So I think those things. But I think most of all is that he likes us as a band, and we like him, and that makes a huge difference.
That partnership is a lot easier that way.
Oh yeah.
You guys just announced a massive North American tour. I mean, like, I don't, it doesn't get much bigger. The last time you guys were in North America, I thought that tour was massive with Arch Enemy at the gates, Grand Magus. I was at the Toronto show. It was an incredible show. Now you guys, I think, even made it a bigger lineup for this one. I mean, you guys keep making that Heathen army bigger and bigger with every time you come to North America. What can fans expect as far as the set list? Because there's a lot of bands on that day performing, and that obviously means that sets may have to be a little bit squeezed. So from the new record, what are your plans on as far as the set list is concerned?
I mean, ideally, we would like to wait until the album is out and to get some feedback from the fans, and then decide what songs we're gonna play. But I'm pretty sure that the 2 singles that we just released, they're gonna be on the set. And then I think we're gonna try to play as many songs as possible, but you know, usually we do four or five songs from a new record every time we toured in the past, and I think that's gonna be the same here. So yeah, but I think we're definitely gonna see the reaction, and whatever fans like, that's what we play, because we play for them. We don't play for ourselves, you know. So, but when it comes to the show, yeah, we're gonna definitely try to make a bigger show, or we are gonna make a bigger show than we did 19. And you're right, the lineup is amazing, and it's both Obituary and Carcass. First of all, grew up listening to both those bands, so and we toured with them in the past too. So they're good guys. It can be fun. And Cattle Decapitation, we never met before, but I think that their album from the last album, I think it was from 19.
Yeah,
It's
2019.
Atlas something, maybe Cloud, whatever its name is. I think it's amazing, and one of the records I've been listening a lot to recently since it came. So yeah, it's a great package, and it's gonna be awesome.
It is going to be awesome, and I think it's a great lineup. And the last question that I have for you is in sequence to that. I'm from Toronto, I'm definitely going to be at the show in Toronto. Where do I sign up to be a Viking on stage, you know, with the shield and hammer and stuff? I think I have the look. I definitely have the body. I can grow my beard a little bit longer if that's all that it takes. So is there a sign-up sheet somewhere?
Uh, the thing is that first of all, you need to join one of these Viking groups, and I think Joms Vikings, they actually have a North American division. So if you start up with them and then you learn to fight, and whenever you feel you're ready, you can send it to me.
All right. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the ball rolling. We still have time. The tour is not until the fall. We still have time. So I'm going to get into shape. I'm going to get into fighting shape.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
All right, Olavi, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with the release on August 5th with Metal Blade Records, and best of luck with you and the guys. See you on the road.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was good talking to you.
Take care, man. Bye.
All right, bye.